Good morning, brothers and sisters. Have you shouted for joy yet? Yes, let us shout for joy again. What shall we shout for joy? Let's shout for joy that we are the conquerors. The Lord saved us, and He is risen from the dead. He won the victory, and He is the pioneer of the conqueror. He likes to bring all the conquerors to the Father. The Lord has won the victory, and we overcome through Him. Hence, we're no longer the slave of sin, nor the defeated opponent. We can overcome the world, sin, and the devil through faith. Hallelujah! We're truly the conquerors. I can do all things through Him who strengthens me. And it includes defeating the devil. Of course, we cannot win by sitting back and relaxing. Here it said, through the Lord who strengthens me. And the Bible also mentioned we overcome the world through our faith. Faith is to trust in the Lord, to draw near to Him. Do you remember? Everyone who believes in Him will not be put to shame. I like to sing a hymn with you. It's one of your favorite hymns. It's in Songs of Love, Song 96, The Faith of a Conqueror.
My Lord is risen, He has conquered all. He's overcome pain and death, overcome the world, defeated Satan, destroyed the power of sin. Ha ha ha, He's risen, He lives forevermore. Ha ha ha, my Lord has gained victory forever. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation, distress, or persecution, or nakedness, or famine, peril, or sword? Neither death nor life, angels, principalities, can ever separate us from the love of God. Whether gain or lose, whether right or wrong, whether abound or in want, whether height or depth, in strength or weakness, whatever I encounter, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I firmly believed His grace sufficient for me. Oh, brothers, arise, and sisters, be strong, never mind all the scars. Forget things behind and march forward. Triumph or trials of life. He who overcomes, I will make him a pillar in my God's temple, and firm with me forever.
I hope you have time to be still and respond to Him, or you can sing another hymn to worship the Lord. Let's have some time to be with Him face to face. You can stop the recording and we'll read the Bible when you're done. May the Lord bless you. Brothers and sisters, we'll read in 1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 1 to verse 31. When David and his men had come to Ziklag on the third day, the Amalekites had made a raid on the south and on Ziklag, and had struck Ziklag and burned it with fire, and had taken captive the women and all who were in it, both small and great. They didn't kill any, but carried them off and went their way. When David and his men came to the city, behold, it was burned with fire, and their wives, their sons, and their daughters were taken captive. Then David and the people who were with him lifted up their voice and wept until they had no more power to weep. David's two wives were taken captive, Ahimelech the Jezreelitess, and Agabel the wife of Nabal the Carmelitess. David was greatly distressed, for the people spoke of stoning him, because the souls of all the people were grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters. But David strengthened himself in the Lord his God. David said to Abiathar the priest, the son of Ahimelech, "Please bring the ephod here to me." Abiathar brought the ephod to David. David inquired of the Lord, saying, "If I pursue after this troop, will I overtake them?" He answered him, "Pursue, for you will surely overtake them, and will without fail recover all." So David went, he and the 600 men who were with him, and came to the brook Bishor. They found an Egyptian in the field, and brought him to David, and gave him bread, and he ate, and they gave him water to drink. They gave him a piece of a cake of figs, and 2 clusters of raisins. When he had eaten, his spirit came again to him, for he had eaten no bread, and drank no water for 3 days and 3 nights. David asked him, "To whom do you belong? Where are you from?" He said, "A young man of Egypt, servant to an Amalekite, and my master left me, because 3 days ago I got sick. He made a raid on the south of the Cherethites, and on that which belongs to Judah, and on the south of Caleb, and we burnt Ziklag with fire." David said to him, "Will you bring me down to this truth?" He said, "Swear to me by God that you will not kill me, and not deliver me up into the hands of my master, and I will bring you down to this troop." When he had brought him down, behold, they were spread around all the ground, eating, drinking, and dancing, because of all the great plunder that they had taken out of the land of the Philistines and out of the land of Judah. David struck them from the twilight even to the evening of the next day. Not a man of them escaped from there, except 400 young men who rode on camels and fled. David recovered all that the Amalekite had taken, and David rescued his 2 wives. There was nothing lacking to them, neither small nor great, neither son nor daughters, neither plunder, nor anything that they have taken. David brought them all back. David took all the flocks and the herds, which they drove before those other livestock, and said, "This is David's plunder." David came to the 200 men, who were so faint that they could not follow David, whom also they had made to stay at the brook Bishor, and they went out to meet David, and to meet the people who were with him. When David came near to the people, he greeted them. Then all the wicked men and the worthless fellows of those who went with David answered and said, "Because they didn't go with us, we will not give them anything of the plunder that we have recovered, except to every man his wife and his children, that he may lead them away and depart." Then David said, "Do not do so, my brothers, with that which the Lord has given to us, who has preserved us, and delivered the troops that come against us into our hand. Who will listen to you in this matter? For as his share is who goes down to the battle, so shall his share be who stays with the baggage. They shall share alike." It was so from that day forward that he made it a statute and an ordinance for Israel to this day. When David came to Ziklag, he sent some of the plunder to the elders of Judah, even to his friends, saying, "Behold, a present for you from the plunder of the Lord's enemies." He sent it to those who were in Bethel, to those who were in Ramoth of the south, to those who were in Jectiah, to those who were in Aroah, to those who were in Sitmath, to those who were in Eshtemoa, to those who were in Rachel, to those who were in the cities of the Jerahmeelites, to those who were in the cities of the Kenites, to those who were in Hormah, to those who were in Boration, to those who were in Aphek, to those who were in Hebron, and to all the places where David himself and his men used to stay. As we know, Achish gave Ziklag to David from 1 Samuel chapter 27. So David made raids against the Geshurites, the Gaasites, and the Amalekites. When he got control of the city, the Amalekites seized opportunity to raid Ziklag, attacking his place while David was away this time. They have kidnapped the women and took all who were in it, both small and great, and possessions. Of course, David and his men were unaware of these until they returned from Aphek 3 days later and found their city was burned. Their families and possessions had been taken captive, but most tragically, they could not see their loved ones. Hence, David and his people who were with him lifted up their voices and wept until they were exhausted and had run out of strength to weep. Some of David's men began to grumble, even wanting to stone him. In fact, David himself was greatly distressed, yet he knew to trust in God, for the presence of God was with him. Why do I say this? If you still remember, in 1 Samuel chapter 28, Saul learned the Philistines were attacking Israel. He was very anxious. He also inquired of God, but God didn't answer him. He was so anxious to a point that he sought for those who had a familiar spirit. He was associated with a medium. You see, David, who was very different, it mentions, but David strengthened himself in the Lord his God. Saul didn't rely on God. That's why chapter 28 states repeatedly that he was very distressed and even terrified. His heart was not peaceful. However, David relied on God. It states he was strengthened. The original text here is quite meaningful. David strengthened himself. Can be translated as grasping. Grasping for what? Definitely to grab on the most reliable and stable. Hence, when a heart grabs something and gets settled. This is the meaning of strengthened. We know David relied on God. His heart held on to God. Thus, the heart of David was at ease and felt settled. This is what it means to be strengthened. Brothers and sisters, those who relied on God will grab him with their hearts. Should we read again the last sentence of verse 6? But David strengthened himself in the Lord his God. This verse helps us to understand what it means on relied on God. Relying on God means getting hold of God in our hearts. We do not hold on to God with our hands, but with our hearts. How do we hold on to God with our hearts? It means our minds think of him, cling to him. Our hearts think of the promises of God and his love for us. It's not just our thoughts. We must also exercise our faith. Faith and mind should come in hand, trusting God who brings peace to our hearts. This is what it means to get hold of him in the heart and be strengthened. Brothers and sisters, whenever difficulties arise, troubles comes, or even the attack by the enemy, don't be anxious, do not worry. Do not just weep until you're drained of strength. We should get hold on to God with our minds and with our faith. David is a role model for us to follow. He turned away from his anxiety. His mind shifted. He thought of God and relied on him. He said to Abiathar the priest, the son of Ahimelech, to bring the ephod. David intends to inquire of God. I give thanks for myself while reading this. Even David needs time to have somebody to bring him the ephod. I don't know how long it would take, but we don't need that. Whenever we encounter danger or trouble, we shall fly to God at once. We shall fly to the presence of God at that very moment. We can receive help. When we rely on the Lord, our hearts find peace and get settled.
I hope the first thing we learn from this chapter is to be strengthened, to get hold in our hearts, get hold of God, get hold of His love, and bind our minds to Him constantly. After inquiring about God, God told David he shall overtake and rescue them for sure. Let's think, if David and his men had relied on God earlier and inquired of Him earlier, knowing that they would overtake, they wouldn't have wept until they had run out of strength. I'm not saying that it was wrong to weep. We all have emotions, but it was not necessary for them to weep until there was no more strength. Brothers and sisters, let's stop shedding many tears in vain. Let us rely on God quickly, be quick to trust in Him, and come before God for comfort quicker. Let God wipe away your tears. Truly, we have to fly freely to the presence of God day to day. Don't waste our time and strength any more. We can save many. Let us complete the desire of God. The second thing I'd like to share with you in this chapter is verse 24. It says, "Who will listen to you in this matter? For as his share is who goes down to the battle, so shall his share be who stays with the baggage. They shall share alike. And he maketh a statute and a rule for Israel from that day forward to this day." I believe we all see David as a precious, outstanding leader who was full of love. When David led 600 men to pursue the Amalekites, 200 men were too exhausted to continue and stopped. You see in verse 9, "So David went, and he and the 600 men who were with him, and came to the brook Brishor, where those who were left behind stayed. Those 200 who couldn't cross the brook Brishor, not because they were faithless, but because they were exhausted. If they were full of energy, I believe they would have joined the 400 in the pursuit. Of course, we should first command those 400 men, for 1/3 of them were absent without reason. Only these 400 pursued Amalekites, and they had to rescue the women and possessions, which were not the easy task at all. Yet David and these 400 men were full of faith, knowing that the promise of God to overtake and rescue them was the truth. The faith of these 400 men was certain, and verse 10 mentions, "For 200 stayed behind, who were so faint that they couldn't go over the brook Brishor." Their staying behind were mentioned twice. It wasn't because they were faithless, but they were too exhausted. If you were one of those 200, let's think. Wouldn't you have wanted to cross the brook with the 400 and pursue the Amalekites for rescuing your families, wives, and children? Of course you would. However, they were unable to do so. It wasn't a lack of faith, but because of their exhaustion. Therefore, brothers and sisters, I truly hope for myself and for each of you that our bodies remain strong. May both our spirits and body be prosper. My dear, let's value your spirits, but also value your body. Bodily training is very crucial. Eat healthy foods and engage in regular physical activity. Otherwise, it is pitiful when our bodies lack the strength. We cannot accomplish what our spirits desire. These 200 men stay in the brook Brishor, unable to go forward. Thus, they miss out on a glorious victory. It's true that they enjoyed the result of victory in the end, yet they didn't experience the process. Brothers and sisters, the glorious work of God lies ahead. He will revive the church, and He has counted you and me in. Let us prepare our souls and strengthen our bodies to welcome this revival. Let's partake in this glorious victory and experience God's marvelous work, shall we? Brothers and sisters, you shall get rid of some misconceptions that the body cannot improve or change, but deteriorate. That is not true. Whether your body is strong or healthy or not is a matter of choice. Do not neglect your body. Do nothing or let it decline. Let us take action and change your eating habits and do exercise. Brothers and sisters, God will bless you if you're willing to do so. I spoke to the Lord and to myself when I turned 60. I do not want to stay in my comfort zone. I want to break through. I want to challenge myself. I dare to leave my comfort zone. I hope I'm still adventurous when I was young, daring to challenge the difficulties. So I gave myself my first gift at 60. Participate in a marathon organized by Light and Love Home. I never imagined I could run 40 laps. Running was one of my least favorite sports. In addition, because of my polio, I couldn't run fast, and my legs were not strong. Ultimately, I completed 40 laps and broke my personal record. I'm very grateful to the Lord, and the challenge I've set for myself at 61 will be climbing the highest mountain in Taiwan, Jade Mountain. Brothers and sisters, truly I do not want to retreat simply because of my age. Stop trying and stop moving forward to remain in my comfort zone forever. I don't want to be that kind of person. You can be at ease. I will seek challenges which suit me and which I can handle. I will continually push my limits, hoping to offer myself to God and His will. Brothers and sisters, I'd like to bless you sincerely. May both your soul and body be prosper, and you can offer yourself to God and His will continually. Right, let's come back to verse 24. These 200 men were too exhausted and stopped, while the 400 went to fight and won the battle. Some of the 400 felt they shouldn't share the possessions gained with the 200. They thought it was sufficient to return to them their families. But David disagreed and said, "For as his share is who goes down to the battle, so shall his share be who stays with the baggage. They shall share alike." Did that seem fair to you? I guess this was perfectly fair. Some argue, no, those on the front lines risk their lives and should get more. But those 200 stayed behind because they were exhausted, not because they lacked of faith. They also wanted to go and risk their lives with them to gain their own people and possessions. Besides, those 200 by the Brook weren't doing anything. Who stayed by the baggage? Those who stayed by the baggage was crucial as well. Did you think those 400 going down into the battle carried their cooking utensils with them? Wouldn't that just be a burden? And I believe those 200 by the Brook prayed for their brothers and asked God to bless them. What was the ending? They won the battle, but many marvelous things happened along the way. For instance, they encountered a young Egyptian who told David where the Amalekites had encamped. Hence, they could take over and rescue the captives. Then they find the Amalekites themselves, merely singing and dancing. Verse 16 specifically says they were spread around all over the ground. Probably they were drunk. They got tired from the party, lying on the ground and loss of watchfulness. Therefore, David and his men struck them down from twilight until the evening of the next day. As we can see, this whole incident was filled with the blessing of God, His presence, and the work of God. And those 200 men prayed for their brothers by the Brook shore. Shouldn't they deserve credit as well? Do you remember? The Israelites encountered the Amalekites and fought against them when they left Egypt and entered the wilderness. Joshua fought the battle with the army, but Moses did not go to the battle. Instead, he did something crucial. He took Aaron and Hur to pray on the hill. The victory came whenever he held up his hand, but the Israelites were defeated when he lowered his hand. In the end, Joshua won the battle. I'd like to ask, did Aaron, Hur, and Moses deserve the credits? Of course they did. They had done a great thing. In fact, it is a good spiritual lesson for us to learn. for it showed to us how important prayer is. Some brothers and sisters may not stand on the front line for various reasons. They gave behind the scenes wholeheartedly. They offer their time in prayers to remember brothers and sisters in need and support the work of God financially. Surely God will remember these brothers and sisters. They all share in God's glorious victory. Hence, God prepares for us to share in His glory. What do you think? Isn't that wonderful? Everyone has a share in glory. If only those brothers and sisters on the front lines receive praise, rewards, and glory on that day, would you be happy? Even those brothers and sisters who receive rewards wouldn't be happy, because it is desirable for everyone to have a share. Brothers and sisters, do you feel the same? It's so precious that God has made us one family. This kinship has bound our hearts tightly as one. We long for everyone in this family to receive glory. How wonderful the church is, the household of God. Paul states the church is not just a family, but a body as well. He used the body as a comparison of the church. He told us when one member suffers, all the members suffer with it. When one member is honored, all the members rejoice with it. This is the word of God. God desires the church, the entire household, the whole body to be honored. There was one thing which I delight with David. He made it a statute and a rule for Israel from that day forward to this day. So for as his share is who goes down into the battle, so shall his share be who stays by the baggage. That meant this practice was implemented during the sovereignty of David. It's the word of God. Hence, there was no need to argue about it. Finally, I encourage everyone that no matter what position we're in, we can all share in the Lord's glory as long as we're faithful. That's all for my sharing. In fact, there are various parts in this chapter that I haven't shared with you, such as the story of the young Egyptian and David distributing the spoils he brought down to the elders of Judah. All these are very interesting. Maybe I can share with you some other time. But the most important is for you to come before the Lord, to draw near to Him personally, and to enjoy the love fellowship with Him. May the Lord bless you.